We want to head to Canada, where we're joined by Dr. Dotan Russo, uncle of Ophik Russo, Staff Sergeant of the Shayetet 13th Marine Commando Unit, who was killed in combat on the horrible Saturday of October 7th. Dr. Russo, thank you very much for joining us. Well, ever since the Black Saturday, you've been very active, very vocal, especially when the Canadian Prime Minister called on Israel to cease the fire.
Yes, that is true. So first of all, thank you for having me here. You started with mentioning my nephew, Ophik Russo, who was killed. So I would like also to say a few words about this. Ophik Russo was a Navy SEAL. He was 21 years old when he was killed, just 4 months after he finished his extremely hard training. Actually, Shayetet 13, the Navy SEAL is considered to be one of probably the 2 or 3 most challenging and elite units in Israel. On October 7, he was one of the first who were called to the scene of massacre. And for many hours, he fought and battled those hundreds of terrorists. He and very few of his fellow commando soldiers succeeded in rescuing dozens of families from being murdered, killed, burned alive. On that day, actually, early morning of October 8th, he was called under very severe fire to provide assistance for an officer who was severely injured. He reached out to him, although this was an extremely brave and dangerous act. He succeeded in reaching him, but then he was shot to death while his body actually served as a shield to this officer who survived. So yes, it is very important for us, for the family, to keep on telling his story, because it is definitely an ultimate expression of bravery, of commitment to his people, and to sacrifice, the willingness to sacrifice.
May he rest in peace. So many stories of too many heroes during this horror. Thank you for sharing with us Ophik's story, and of course throughout our conversation we're seeing pictures of him and his resonating, enlightening character. Yeah, the heart is torn, and yet you are far away, oceans away, and fighting on your front to an extent.
Yes, well, that is the very least that I can do. As you mentioned, among other things, I wrote an open letter to Prime Minister Justin Trudeau regarding his call for an immediate ceasefire. And this letter has a few purposes, actually. First of all, to educate and to remind the people in Canada and elsewhere of the cause of the war. You know, as time goes on, people tend to forget what was the reason for all this. And the most that you get to hear when it is being covered in the media is that, they would very briefly mention the fact that there was a massacre on October 7th, and they would right away move to discuss the casualties in Gaza and the suffering and so on. So it's very important to keep on reminding the population what is the real cause of this. And sometimes all you need to do, or what you need to do, is to illustrate what we're talking about here. Because on October 7th, there were 1,200 people who were massacred, which is equal per capita to 50,000 Americans who were slaughtered in one day. Again, if you make the comparison, and the kidnap of 8,500 American, or for that matter, it is equal to 4,800 Canadians who would be killed, and approximately 5,000 who would be kidnapped. So this gives the public an idea of the scale of this attack. This is something that I'm focusing on my letter. Also, I try to expose the true nature of the Hamas ideology, something that very few talk about. You may see people, professionals, academics, scholars, and are being interviewed on TV, and they describe Hamas as a fighting liberation fighting organization, and they don't even know that Hamas is ideology is not willing to compromise on any grain of sand, and his ideology seeks to the elimination of Israel. Some people, as I stated in the letter, are not even aware of the fact that in accordance to the original charter of the Hamas, it is the religious obligation of any Muslim to kill any Jew he encounters, not just Israeli, any Jew. So these are very important things that needs to be addressed.
Dr. Rosen, we talk a lot and we hear a lot about what is happening on American campuses, and you teach philosophy at the Southern Alberta Institute of Technology, right? So
yes, that is true.
So what is the mood further north?
This is a very challenging battle because the media here there's no question that it is biased and it's biased towards the Palestinians. The average person doesn't have the knowledge, doesn't have the motivation to dig into the matter. And sometimes just one image of a wounded or a killed child can make impact much stronger than words. So this is definitely a very challenging battle, and we see this also in academic institutions all over Canada. And now the call is for a ceasefire. This is actually my letter to the Prime Minister was focusing on this because Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister, has been called for immediate and long-lasting ceasefire. But again, it sounds very good. Who wouldn't support such a initiative? But the truth is, and people need to know that this call actually means in practice, it is a call for Israel to end the war with Gaza while Hamas remain in power, keep on threatening Israel, while its spokesman declared many times over that October 7 was just the first massacre, and there will be the third, the second, the third, and the million.
Yeah.
People don't know that. People don't make this connection between these nice words, of a ceasefire that seems to be, very
There's no connection needed to be made. They're saying it. They're saying it loud and clear. Sometimes you just need to listen. Sometimes, unfortunately, it's that simple. Dr. Dotan Ros, unfortunately, this is all the time we have. Thank you very much for joining us. And yes, may Ofik rest in peace. Thank you for speaking with us and for doing what you do and for sharing with us Ofik's heroic story. Thank you very much for this.
Thank you very much for having me.